There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day.
Good afternoon and welcome to Finding the Joy in the Journey. My name is Gina Colvario Krupka. I am a licensed practitioner, blessed to be part of this beautiful prayer team here at New Thought Media Network as well. And here we are on Finding the Joy in the Journey. Now, the reason that the show is called that is because that's what we do here. We talk about different ways of expanding our joy. Life is not meant to be, well, when I accomplish this, then I can be happy. When I have enough money in the bank, when I have the right job, when I have the right partner, because life doesn't work that way. When there's one thing that happens, there's always the next thing. And it's supposed to be that way. Joy isn't because we've achieved. Joy just is. In the center of our beingness, that light, that love, that allness of the universe resides. And it is joy, and it is unchangeable. So we talk about tapping into that on this show. We're finding the joy in the journey, not trying to get somewhere else. You know, we live in a society, bigger, better, faster, more. And the truth is that we live in this place oftentimes on what I call destination happiness. Putting it off and, well, when I get there, then I'll take that vacation. Then I'll take the time I need. Then I'll write that book. Then I'll do fill in the blank. So I offer you that right here, right now, is all the power you'll ever have. So let's have fun in this moment. And every week I take on different guests that are going to be, help in a different way look at things, whether it be spiritually or different types of coaches, people that help us to do that right where we are. We refocus our lenses and realize that there's nothing out there that's always in here. And today I have a fabulous guest that I'm excited to bring on. And she's not new to New Thought Media Network. She had her own show for a while here. And she is, she has this beautiful book, Wise Inside. Danae Shanti is she's going to walk us through the hero formula today. She's an inner wisdom intuition mentor, author, singer, inspired speaker, show host, and founder of Singing Children Home, which I can't wait to talk about. In 1987, she had an awakening, changing her direction from being an executive director of a chamber of commerce to a spiritual midwife and intuitive. What woke her was the inability to have was her now ability to have a living conversation with spirit or the divine intelligence within. She's trained over 5,000 people to open to open themselves up to this conversation within. And her book, Wise Inside, names this divine guiding intelligence as the God Spark. She's now living in Boulder, Colorado, and offers her conversations with spirit events impersonally and virtually worldwide. She's got a workshop coming up, a class. We've got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Danae, thank you so much for being here. What a gift it is to have you. We've already had a couple of wonderful conversations, and it is just a gift. Welcome.
Thank you, Gina. Oh my God, your exuberance is just washing right through me. It's so fun. Thank you for you. Yum.
For some it's too much, I have to say. And it's so funny because I'm married to the opposite. He as joyful as I am, he always looks and sounds miserable. So the two of us are like with the yin and yang, as yin and yang as they come.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm great. You know, every time I'm on someone's show, it's like, do I look at the camera? Because I want to look at you and see your face and your eyes. But if I look up there, I don't see you. I never know where to look. So I'll go back and forth. So feel free to direct me. I'm great. I'm in the middle of a physical move from one home to another. And, you know, you and I were laughing before. There's this metaphor I like to use when I'm teaching intuition. If we don't listen to the message, ultimately the universe is going to make sure we get it. And we can call that like the universal baseball bat or getting hit over the head with a 2x4. And though we don't like violent images, we don't want to put that out there. I literally got hit in the head with a 2x4 like 3 days ago because I didn't listen. Spirit kept telling me, slow down, you're getting impatient. And it was in the middle of the move and I didn't listen. So I literally got hit in the head by a very heavy 2x4. The metaphor became manifest.
You know, and it does happen that, you know, we know. Yet somehow and then afterwards we're like, yeah, I knew, you know, yeah. But sometimes it takes that, you know, and it comes in different forms. Yeah. It's usually not an actual 2x4. That is unique. You know, unfortunately, mine was cancer. I had a couple of major cancer, you know, every surgeries that everybody has their way of learning things. Yeah. We are here to teach people so that they don't have to have the physical manifestations of the things, that we learn how to intuitively listen. Yes. So that we don't need the physical 2x4s. We don't need the physical dis-ease. We're just paying attention.
Paying attention. That's where it's at. That God spark is fully alive in us, knows exactly what we need every second, every day, all day long, no matter what.
Absolutely.
That's how it is.
Absolutely. Now, you've been a coach for over 30 years, and you've got a new course coming up. Are You Wise Inside is the name of it, which I love. And it's starting on February 24th. And you said it's going to be for Zoom. Yeah. So I'm going to make sure that I have a couple of times that I'm going to put your information up here so people can reach out to you. This is your phone number as well as your email. And you're going to have information for them to be able to, sign up for that. And I know we're going to be having you back to talk about it. And we're going to walk through all of that as well. But I'd love how did you get that, 7-step formula? How long did the book take for you to put out there? How did you come up with this?
How did it happen? I did a show years ago, being a singer-songwriter and performing artist as well. And in that show, I had the whole audience say with me, you pray, things happen. How can you not believe? And it's hysterical to have 500 people doing that. Well, that's what happened. I kept getting the message, write a book. And I kept saying, I don't want to write a book. I really just don't want to write a book. I just couldn't. There's so many different books I could write. I was like, I don't even know how to write a book. And so I said to the universe, I said to the God spark, if you really want me to write a book, you set me up in total silence on a retreat that I don't have to pay for, and I will write the book. And later that day, my brother and sister-in-law got a hold of me and said, hey, we're going away for 10 days. We need someone to house sit. We'll pay you for your time. Like, guess I'm writing a book. So that's what happened. I sat down. I just tuned into spirit or the God spark. I let go and the fingers started typing and the whole book came out in 10 days flat.
Amazing.
That's how that happened. Did you ask me another question?
I asked how long it, what made you come up with it? How did it work?
Oh.
And spirit you just channeled it basically.
Well,
it came out, that's
what
wonderful.
was happening is I was walking around because I've been doing one-on-one sessions and workshops and trainings for so long, and I want to move on with my project Singing Children Home, and I feel responsible and committed to helping people awaken to that inner conversation with their divine, so it's crystal clear. And I kept feeling like, how am I going to move on to Singing Children Home and leave a 30-year career in training people to listen to their God spark? What do I do with all these years that I've been granted so much fabulous information and guidance? And I was praying about that. And I was just sitting there minding my own business. And all of a sudden I got this download and I heard take dictation, and I did. And I was given the hero formula and the 7 steps, just like that. So I was like, okay, if I could write the book and have a formula and get people trained in that, and maybe even train people who are already coaches, train them in the hero formula so they could teach people, then I feel free to go ahead with Singing Children Home. That's what happened.
And I find also that the old manner of thinking was, well, this is my job. I do my job. I don't have time for other things.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore, especially as a coach or as a speaker or whatever it is that you're doing. Many people are wearing different hats, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I too had I didn't even read poetry. And the next thing I knew, I was in meditation at service, at my service, and a whole poem came out, just like it would, as if it was, and the whole thing. So the next week I had a piece of paper and the same thing happened again. Yep. And, now I'm in the midst of editing my second poetry book. So it's one of those things that I didn't even read poetry, let alone write it. And here it was. Yeah. So it's important to know that just because you haven't yet doesn't mean spirit doesn't have that plan. So, just because you're singing Children Home doesn't mean that you're not still going to be doing all the things that's meant for you. Yeah.
And that versatility, so I think about it this way. I think of the divine or God, goddess, however anyone wants to put it, as a diamond. And then all the different facets of the diamond are all the different genius, creative, brilliant expressions of that Godhead. And as wide open as we are, we can be the vessel through which different expressions of that God spark comes forward into the world. And so lots of folks are multi-expressing and multidimensional now. Because why? Because we're in the middle of a massive consciousness birth, and we're all on the front lines. We are all being called to let the brilliance and the magnificence of the divine pour through us. And next thing you know, you're a poet. It's beautiful.
It's, and it's funny because the beginning of this time last year, I had taken a class, and the class basically, a professor called me out because I never planned to be a minister. Like, I certainly was not in my anything as I'm finishing up my final semester at the Holmes Institute. And it was not on my plan. It wasn't on my radar. And I certainly never planned to, run a center or anything like that. Why? I didn't want that. I didn't want that pressure, the headaches, the stuff, the personality stuff. I'm like, I don't want, and I was sure. But as time went through for school, I knew that was God's plan. I started it with I'll go through school, but I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to do it so that I can do my ministry, a focus ministry this way, traveling, etc. Yeah, that didn't happen. And I knew halfway through that was just to get me in the door. So, I get shown this much and I take the step, and then I get a little more. Yeah. And it was just, she said, well, don't tell me what you don't want. What do you want? It's not about just doing it for spirit. What do you want?
Yeah.
And she called me out, and I I really gave it thought. And within the week, I met with Rev Robert, and I was on the network. Like literally that same week that she called me out, and I spent time, well, what would I love? And this is what I would love. This is
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
within weeks of that, I ended up at the Boston CSL Greater Boston, helping them reemerge, and I'm now the spiritual director. So
Wow.
all of it unfolded because I really stopped to ask, well, what do I want? Because spirit isn't going to force us to do things that's not for us, And when I softened to that and I realized, well, what part would I love? And I knew that I could do that, and
Yes.
my world opened up, and like whoosh, there it was.
And that's the thing. If you say yes, you get clear, and you say yes, whoosh is going to happen. So many people are afraid, there's some lack of limitation thought forms like, what if I'm not enough? What if I can't do it? It's like, you don't have to worry about that. Your job is to find what you want to say yes to, say yes to whatever that is, and the whoosh happens. And so does everything we need to carry us forward.
Yes. It's not like we're not doing it. Let spirit do. The law is the doer. That's the one thing in Science of Mind that we talk about all the time when we treat. We do our 5-step prayer, and the law is the doer. So we put it into the law and let it answer. Yeah. I don't have to figure out the how. That's not my job.
Right.
So, as we get clear in what it is that, well, what would I love? That's the question. What would you love?
Yeah.
And I have been a life coach for, well over a decade. I've been doing it my whole life, helping people. How did I not ask myself that because I was, it's so much easier to see it in others than in myself. So when I got called out, I'm like, yeah, well, what would I love? And it opened up.
Yeah. And that's why I love the hero formula, because like you said, as coaches, we see very clearly, the path is clear to see for other people. And we're very good at seeing for ourselves, except where we have attachments and blind spots, which is almost all the time, because we're in a human embodiment. If we didn't have blind spots and attachments, we wouldn't be parading around in these human forms, having human experiences. So, yeah. Do you want to go through it?
I would love to. Absolutely.
I know we talked about that before. So the 7 steps are, and I'll say them and then I'll take you through it. Who are you at the time? What is your predicament? How do you ask the universe for help? How do you receive your guidance? What choices do you make? What actions do you take? And what are your results? Super easy. Okay, so it's helpful to have an issue or something that's just kind of like that you're dealing with, even though I know you're highly self-resourced and you get all your answers.
Everybody has stuff. My biggest thing that I have struggled with, and that is the word, as much as I hate to use it, metaphysically speaking, it has been the lifelong Achilles heel in my life. And it's food addiction and I know that there's a part that people say, well, that's not a real thing, or there's other people that think, and it doesn't matter what people think. I know that for my life, my struggle has been, I was hospitalized at 7 for the first time for it. So when I say it has been all of my life, hundreds of pounds up and down, I've lost 100 pounds or more 3 or 4 times in my life at least. So it has been this, and knowing that this isn't a forever. It's not who I am.
Yeah. It's a dynamic that's happening with your body. So let's go through the formula, and I'm going to take you a little deeper. Who are you at the time? Now, when I ask that, I'm asking you, who are you at the time of the predicament? You're saying this predicament has been with you lifelong. Who are you at this time in relationship to that predicament? Let me give you an example. I'm a minister, I'm a host of a show, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm a minister and a host of a show, a wife, a daughter, and I have this yo-yo energy happening in my body. So just take a moment to consider and feel into, who are you at the time of this predicament, and see what comes, and go ahead and speak that out loud.
When I think, who am I don't think of the things that I do. I think personally of, I am a mother, I am a wife, I'm a grandmother, I am a strong woman that is very sensitive and intuitive, and there's an inner child that I'm still trying to give joy to in ways that don't serve me.
So I would up that ante and I would say I am a woman who has a perception that there is an inner child who needs joy that I'm trying to fulfill. And here's where the detail of the formula is why I'm excited about having this kind of detail in the book, because we don't automatically to think, oh, I'm a spirit having a human incarnation as a woman who has a perception that there's an inner child that needs healing. So we're broadening it and deepening it a little bit for you, right?
Okay.
So you are a woman who has a perception, because everything is perception based. Everything that we manifest, everything we experience, everything is through the lens of sight. So you are a woman in all the ways you described who's having a perception that there's an inner child who needs joy, and you're still trying to fill that.
That's what it seems like to me.
Yes, exactly right. That's not who you are. That's what it's like. Beautiful, beautiful. Now you see how we went into a little more detail there.
Yes.
So now from there, what is the predicament that you're relating to? And what you said was that there's an inner child who you're still trying to give joy to in ways that don't work.
This has been it's rooted, it's in, and I don't like saying it's rooted deep, because we all have false beliefs, we all have things that we're conscious or unconscious of, but it's been there. It's like a background noise that's been too long in my life.
So what is the predicament?
I know what's healthy and I'm not choosing it.
Okay, you know what's healthy relative to what you eat, and you're not choosing it.
I know the healthier choices. I know what is good for my body, what is and what is not. And I want to treat my body well. I want to honor this vessel.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a perception that it's a matter of food choices.
Okay.
That creates the predicament. You know what's healthy for you, and you notice that you don't choose those things. Without judgment, you're simply noting the behavior. Right? So the predicament on the outer, according to what you said earlier, was your weight goes up and down and up and down and up and down. The predicament, according to your perception, is there are healthier food choices than the ones you're choosing, and you're simply watching yourself do that. I'm going to take us a little deeper. Let's imagine this predicament, you came in with it, right? Because at 7, you were hospitalized. That didn't come out of nowhere. So let's go back in your body and just kind of tune into your body and ask, where, when, how did this predicament take hold, this challenge, this opportunity? And just tune in and really trust what you get.
What I got was that I was raised by people that didn't know any better. And that food was love. I was taught food was love and to take care of everyone else. That's what my role was as a caretaker. So the food took care of me.
Right. So the predicament was that you were invested in the thought that food is love, and if you eat this particular way, then you are receiving love, and you're being taken care of, and you're taking care of everyone else around you.
No, more it allowed me to take care of everyone else. So I felt it was what helped me be okay with the story.
All right. So if you ate the way they wanted you to, we're not blaming them. They just didn't know any better. In that way, you were taking care of everyone else.
No, I mean, I don't mean it. I'm sorry. I must not mean. I mean it in terms of my needs weren't important. I didn't feel, whether it as a child or growing up, I didn't make myself important. So it was a matter of, I was on my own to take care and love and nurture, in the sense of, as I put everything I had to others, food gave back to me. So as I depleted me, I used that to fill. It didn't, but that's what I used.
Got it. Okay. Let's go in a little deeper, because that's not an accident. There are no mistakes, right? So how, why, what was your purpose? What was your intention in bringing this in with you in this incarnation? Just really get out of your head and drop into your body. And
immediately what came to me is, what I know is that I'm here to teach this. Just like everything that I've been through, I'm here to help teach and help people understand. So I was meant for ministry. Once I may have fought it, but as soon as I got there, I never felt comfortable in my skin in the way that I did from the very beginning since I got there. So everything that I've been through is to help me be the person that I am and meant to be. So I know that this was all in part of learning empathy and guiding me and pushing me to learn things that I would have never learned from the family of origin. I would have never gotten to New Thought from my very Catholic, Italian Catholic background. You know, it was the pain that pushed me. It was the pain that pushed me to learn okay, well, what's the answer? Why am I still doing this? And you know, I am no longer feel the need to be pushed by pain any longer. I am here. I am listening. I am paying attention.
Okay, so let me reflect back to you. You are aware that you brought this in with you as a motivation to feed your capacity to teach. So feed has a different meaning here. To feed your capacity to teach by having experience that you can then speak to. You've lived it, you've gone through, you can be authentic as a teacher in this way. You say that you're no longer needing to make use of the pain that this has caused because you're over that now. And so now you're about the physiology of what's happening. Is that accurate?
One of my mantras is I lovingly release the need to learn through experience, through physical experience. So I lovingly release that, you know, that need, because I can learn about something without physically having to go through it.
Yeah. Okay. So we know who you are at the time. We know what the predicament is. This one is asking God or the universe or creator, however, what's real for you, the God spark. How do you ask the universe for help? How do you know that you're setting your willfulness and your personality and your determination to the side and genuinely, humbly, authentically opening yourself without knowing anything, asking the universe for help? How do you do that?
This is as personal as it gets. This whole conversation right here is as personal as my stuff on the line. For me, it really.
Let's see your underwear next, you know?
Honestly, it's one of those things. Everybody has something. And that's something, and I'm doing this purposely because everybody has something, and that's something, as vulnerable as it is how you help other people too. It's understanding that we get the opportunity to show our humanness. So that's what I'm doing. I would rather tell you about my sex life than tell you about food and the issues that go with it. So I am being as open as for that reason. And you said, how do I know I'm doing it? I've been in the 12 steps for over 20 years. I've been in a 12-step program. I work the steps. I do meetings. I have sponsors, all of that. I have mentors. I have ministerial mentors. I have a prayer partner every morning. I call myself on where I am. And honestly, I journal. I do what I need to be present and honest with myself to the best of my ability every day. And I practice conscious contact with spirit. I practice it.
Practicing conscious contact with spirit is where we're going.
Okay.
Your brilliance and your wisdom to set all that support up is letting yourself know you mean it. You mean it about your health. And all of that now has to be put on the shelf, set aside, out of the way.
Okay.
Right? Because that's where we take our knowingness and we hold on to what we can bear witness to that we know that we're doing. That's what has to, just for this exercise, stick it over there. You know nothing. Just be that. You know nothing. You're wide open slate, innocent child of God, powerful wisdom woman without any knowing. And you're going to dive headlong into that God spark within you, giving you knowing. Even if you think you already know what you're going to hear, don't. Just be perfectly blank. So how do you ask the universe for help? You said you have direct conversation with spirit. We're going to go there right now. And what you're asking for is there anything I need to know? Any insight, any feeling, any aha, any direction that I don't know about, that I need the support to get underneath what drives this weight gain, weight loss, food choice perception. And we'll be quiet while you do that. You know, it's your show, but please take your time with this one.
What comes up and has been coming up for me is self-love. The word that's been coming up too. Well, surrender has been one that I've grappled with. And in the beginning, years ago, it didn't sound like a good thing. Now, I'm that doesn't bother me anymore. But self-love and forgiveness, really being in that place of loving myself, honoring myself, regardless. It's not for an outcome. It's because it's who I am.
Okay, I'm going to hone you in. So I want you to go back into listening to spirit and try and quiet your mind a little more and not explain things. This is like raw, totally raw. You're asking God to speak to you. Self-love, is there anything else? If there is nothing else, tell me, God, what do you mean? What do you mean? Great Spirit, Holy Spirit, show me what self-love looks like through your eyes. And go there.
That in that moment, it's hard to be, it's hard to have, to know in that moment. I mean, in the middle of the show and all that's going on. So, but I will spend some time with that question.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, and that ties for you back to surrender is, and this is the thing that's the hardest for us human beings, is absolute surrender and being told, well, God or creator or universe, what do you mean by that? When I hear self-love, when what arises is self-love, I keep getting that. What do you mean? Not what do I mean? What does that mean to me as a human being, a woman, a person, who you are, step one, who you are. Not what does it mean to that? Not that that's not valid, but when we're looking to really get the download, it means we have to set aside everything to be able to receive that. So you are multitasking very intensely right now, running this show and doing all of this, and people are commenting. So I appreciate that. It's hard to completely let go of the steering wheel and drop in like that. And you're doing really well. And the other steps build on that step.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with self-love right now, and I'm going to invite you to not know what it means as we go forward. I'm going to invite you to not know what that means for you. Just take the concept, self-love.
I keep hearing letting yourself off the hook.
Yeah. And what does that mean?
It means, for me, for all the things that I don't think I get through, for all the things that I don't, for that feeling of not enough sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So that's I guess that there's that caretaker in me that feels like everyone around me should not only be happy, but I should be able to help because I can. But I can't do everything well. So it's learning. I've been really learning. My mom transitioned about a year and a half ago, and in it, which was a huge life altering because all my life every day of my life I've spoken with her. And when my
Wow.
sister transitioned 12 years before her, it was at least it may have been 13 years before her, she went into depression, and I spent the next 12, 13 years sharing my life force to want her to live.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that when I was doing it. So now I am learning, it's like learning to live again.
Yes, exactly.
And letting myself off the hook for letting them go. I did enough. I am enough. I do enough. I have all I need. And so, another one of those little mantras that is, and it's important for me to remind myself because it really is, there wasn't anything. I mean, she had 5 bouts with cancer. She made it through 4. This was her 5th, so it was and it was her time. And I know that, but there's still, part of human nature is to the woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of a thing.
So let's how do you ask the universe for help? What do you get in your guidance? The next is choices. I'm sort of keeping you here.
Right ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the thread of what we're doing. Choices. When we receive messages from our God spark, we are in human embodiment. We do have free will. We get to choose. No, I'm not going to follow that. Thank you. No, thank you. Or I like A, B, and C of what I was given, but I don't like D. Or I love all of it. I'm going to do it all. Right? So self-love and what that means for you, letting yourself off the hook. Let's say that's the guidance you received for now, because I know you're going to take this deeper when we're not on your show. What are your choices around that? How do they feel? What do you choose out of those suggestions from your God spark?
That it comes in many forms. It comes in many forms. So that's Poe. Everybody, my all black kitty. Taking care, in that place of, it's the words that I say to myself. Discipline has been one of those things that I have been really, I'm grappling at, and I know that that's very closely tied to all of this, because I don't want to discipline that inner, that brat that wants, I want what I want when I want it kind of a thing. And I see it happening sometimes. And it's also not for my highest and best of what I really want in life.
Yeah.
So being able, I now look at the word discipline very different than I did. I used to think that word used to be like a swear word for me. And I now, like, oh, it's like, oh. But I now see it as disciple of. So I want to be my highest and best. And the only way that I can be the best version of me is to put things in, because a routine feels so good. It makes it easy to accomplish what it is I choose. And it's just another way of saying discipline. So I did really well with routines until I realized I was kidding myself, and it was actually discipline. Threw me right off. So years for years make a huge difference.
I love being a human being. Speaks for me. I think you just spoke for everyone on the planet. We fool ourselves, and then we realize we duped ourselves. Then we're like, I'm not playing.
So it's an interesting 2-step I've been playing.
Yeah. So with the steps, we're on step 5. What do you choose from what your guidance just told you? Do you choose self-love? Do you choose to let yourself love?
Absolutely. Freedom. I choose freedom. That's been my word that I've been really practicing again and again and again. And I choose freedom. I am free, and it is easy to choose. I am free, and it gets easier and easier. I am free.
Our next step is action.
Mm-hmm.
When we take action, we're taking action based on what has come through the formula, because the inner hero, it's called the hero formula because you're accessing the inner hero, not the mental, not the chatter, not the habit patterns, not the addictions, the inner hero, which is the God consciousness within that can literally drive the bus and direct the boat, direct the ship here if we will turn it over, right? So the action is to show yourself and the universe and the God spark that you mean it. And you get to decide, you get to figure out what action do you choose to take to get behind yourself, to bring that, to let that inner hero take over. So what action, you just said something interesting before. You talked about being in a rhythm, a routine, and that you found that having a routine was helpful, and then you realized you duped yourself, but then you changed the meaning of discipline to discipleship. And so I'm suspicious about you having a routine that's orchestrated from these steps. I don't know what your action is. I'm just curious about that. What do you feel is direct action you can actually do that someone can go, yep, she did that, to help yourself with this predicament?
There's a morning routine that I have been fighting with, and that's the only word I can say, that I know it's what's meant for me. Mm-hmm. Getting up earlier, doing different things, and having a specific order and doing. And I think that's, to me, that is the next step.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Beautiful. So when do you really genuinely feel in integrity with yourself you can start that?
Could start that like immediately. That's not something that, it's not something that it's discipline. It's the discipline to go to bed earlier and get up in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I am committing, and I'm saying it on, to the world as we are live. I am committing to my new morning routine. Starting tonight, tomorrow.
Wow, good on you. I would need a few days to get on. Good on you.
I can do this.
Good on you. Good on you. So right now, as you speak that to all of us, how do you feel?
I did get a little bit of like butterflies in my stomach. I'm not going to lie.
It's real.
And it's empowering. It's not, I truly believe, in having, not just authenticity, but also the integrity of, doing what I'm guided to do. I wouldn't be here otherwise. Right. So the results of the last step 7 is a result. You just named your inner results. You feel empowered. You had a little bit of butterflies, so you're fully alive in your choices, and you landed yourself in a commitment to be a disciple of your own self-love and letting yourself off the hook and taking good care of yourself in a loving way, starting by going to bed earlier tonight and hitting the routine tomorrow morning. That is your immediate inner world result, and you feel good about that. The other part of the result is the outer world result. And outer world results sometimes don't necessarily come to us immediately. For you, it might, because you will see yourself go through the routine tomorrow morning. You will see yourself, the outer world expression, going to bed earlier. You will bear witness to the external result. Be ready for bearing witness to more external results that come from that, because I am ready.
As you know.
I am ready. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So this is, first of all, thank you for your vulnerability and your being so naked with me and everyone who's watching now or watching later, because that's huge. Your courage is just inspiring. It's wonderful. Thank you. You're quite the mental teacher demonstrator.
Thank you so much. And I love the process. It is a wonderful step-by-step process. And this is so much better that you actually walked us through it. I of course, putting myself out there is vulnerable, but that's okay. It's what it's all about. I am knowing that that's where the miracles happen. It doesn't happen when you're not in the game. You don't win the game.
You gotta have skin in the game, baby.
This is how people can reach you, and you are still doing coaching, so people can reach out to you for personal coaching. And this is your phone number and email. And I also want to mention your website, Danae Shanti Thrive.live. And you got to make sure it's thrive.live. And people can also reach you on, they can reach you at, you have your own YouTube channel, which is Danae Shanti Thrive. And that's your YouTube. And they also can find you on Facebook.
Yep.
So I want to make sure people realize that there's how to get to you. Now, the last thing we have to cover, and we're going to spend some time on, is singing children home, because it's absolutely, it touched me. It put me to tears when you were talking about it. It is a beautiful, beautiful, it's a mission. It's a mission. So please share that.
Okay. Can you tell me how much time we have so I know how succinct to be, because I could talk for hours.
We have a good 10 minutes.
Okay, good 10 minutes. All right, we're going to collapse time. Singing Children Home came to me from a spirit child who died when she was 12 years old, 1 month before her 13th birthday. Her name is Amanda Peebles. And Amanda would go around on she was the children's floor, children's hospital, and sing for the other children as they were, starting to go into their terminal illness and die. She was a prayer warrior. She would pray and she would sing, and she was fierce. I mean, this girl, at one point, me and her mom and another dear friend were at the end of her bed. She had just come out of a coma, and she had music playing in her room, and she couldn't move from the neck down because she had just come out of this coma. That little girl outdanced us just with her head. It's like she put us to total shame. And so after she passed, she kept coming to me and talking with me through the spirit realms. And I was getting these bits and pieces of something, and I didn't know what it was, but they were like, I was taking notes from her a lot. And finally, I recognized I was handed a program. And I was actually in the shower when I was talking to her once. And I said, what is it called? You've given me a program. What is it called? And she said, Singing Children Home. And I get the chills every time I say it. And I just fell down weeping in the shower, because the emotional glory that she handed me when she handed me the name shot right through my body. So what Singing Children Home is a program where I and a team of musicians, and I am looking for volunteers all over the place, work with children who are dealing with long-term disease, life-threatening illness, and those who have been, handed a terminally ill sentence. And what we do is go in and work with those children to harness and bring awake their creative brilliance and genius by helping them write their very own song, their lyric, their melody. They get to sing and record it. And what we do as the musicians is completely support them and not influence them. The idea behind Singing Children Home is that the children get to use their own creative genius to give them something to do, right? Give them vitality, give them life force, let them use that to lift them up as they're going through their treatments. For those children who, ultimately it is their path to die, then for them, they get to leave a legacy for their family and friends of their sweetest, dearest essence, and they get to do that with their creative genius. For the children who are going through therapy and treatment, it gets to enliven them so they could use those good vibes to help them navigate their treatments. And for some children who are able to have the grace and the possibility to heal themselves, then they're using that creative aliveness to get home. So singing children home inside their hearts, singing children home back to their place of residence, singing children home back to spirit. And that is the program. It's going to be worldwide. We're going to have musicians from all over the world serving children all over the world. And when Amanda and I were first chatting about it, I was thinking, one-on-one, I can do this, I'll get some people to help me. that was given to me in 2010. I've done several fundraisers for it. It has mushroomed and grown. And now what it wants to be is an online program with a private portal so that we can have endless musicians working with endless children so that we're not waiting to do one-on-one service. I've been asked if we can do this program in person. Yeah, we can do that too. First, we have to get it all up and rolling. And so that's the project I'm stepping into, and it's more than full-time devotion. So that's why I'm shifting from I'm doing less one-on-one coaching and more group coaching, because that's my life path from here forward, is singing children home. And the Wise Inside book and the online courses for the intuition will carry everything that Spirit has shown me for the last 30 years. So I'm not as necessary in that process. I am needed in singing children home.
It's a powerful, it's giving them their voice and letting it be heard. Yeah. And I love Wayne Dyer's quote, "Don't die with the music still in you."
Yeah.
So it gives them an opportunity to use their voice in amazing ways. And music is the most healing thing that I know of.
Yeah.
It's my go-to when I'm not in the mood that I want to be, or it's definitely life-changing. So I think that it's amazing. And you've spoken to so many people about this already. And you have a lot of organizations that are ready to work with you.
Well, that's a good vision. We're not there yet. I actually it's just me and like 4 other people. And what we're doing is we're flushing out the ideas of what makes it tick. Technically, I mean, all the levels of running a nonprofit organization, we're asking each other questions and flushing out the details. What we're looking for is volunteers right now to help us do a pilot program, 1 kiddo and 1 musician. So we have a demonstration. We're looking for funding for that. And then we're looking to fully fund the Singing Children Home nonprofit organization. We have gotten connected to 3 different organizations who are already nonprofits who serve this literal audience. And their whole purpose is creative aliveness. So they are camps. One of them, I was asking you about Pittsburgh earlier because Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh has an in-house TV studio and radio station that is run by the children, but they don't have music. So I'm just coming out with it in 2022 for the first time in 10 years. So we are right at the very beginning, and we need a lot of prayers and a lot of support and a lot of volunteers to launch it.
And you're going to be coming back on to talk about it as you go along. And I'm excited about that. It's, singing children home, so I want to make sure people know that they can be a part of that by, reaching out to you. And you have your, you don't have necessarily a mailing list for that yet, but they can reach out to you. Again, it's Danae.
Years ago, I had a website years and years ago, but then I almost died, which is why the project's taken so long to circle back around. And I ended up taking that website down because I couldn't do anything with it at that time. So you're not even going to find a website. Like, we need everything. It's like we're starting brand new. The vision is not brand new. The execution of it is. So yeah, people could just email me. You won't even see anything about it on my current website. It's all about my intuition and TV show work.
So it's knowing that they can reach out to you. And I also encourage people, your show, Gather, Love, Thrive, right?
Yeah, that's how we met.
And there's a dozen episodes out there. So you could look it up on I want them to go to your YouTube station, Danae Shanti, and live. And no, it's Danae Shanti Live or Thrive.
So YouTube is Danae Shanti Thrive on YouTube, and my website is DanaeShantiThrive.live.
Okay. So they can reach out to you so that we can, they can get all of this information. But the shows are wonderful. And, there's so many gifts that you bring forth. And I thank you. And I thank you, as uncomfortable as it was, for making me think as well. Yeah. And really, and I offered, I know it's not, but the truth is that we don't get better if we hide anything. Yeah. And for me, anything that I voice no longer holds that hold on me. Mm-hmm. When I put it out there, it doesn't hold shame. It doesn't hold blame. It doesn't hold those negative emotions that I was, that shadow side was trying to hold down, because there's nothing to be, everybody has something. There is no shame, and we hold that in place when we hide from it.
That's right. That's right. We have a story of shame when we think there's something about us we need to hide.
Yes. So we are.
I changed
all out there.
The first version of the book is all about me and my fiance and forever and getting married. And then we totally broke up. And I'm like, I changed the book. I'm like, oh, none of that is true. And I don't want to keep putting that out there because it locks he and I in a psychic hold. It's not true. So I rewrote parts of the book honoring the beauty that we did get to share and naming it for what it is and letting it go. I could have felt shameful about that. Oh, I'm not getting married now and my fiance broke up with me. I could have felt a lot of shame about that, but that's not, revealing it is life-giving.
It's something better. It's either this or something better. Spirit always has better. Unless people keep, if I hold shame somewhere and I'm holding it, I'm not allowing the something better. My hands aren't open. If I ask you to pass something to me and I'm looking away and I'm not taking it, I'm not receiving. And that includes emotions. If we can't take a compliment, we're not accepting the good of the universe by far. If you can't even say, somebody compliments you and you can't take it, let alone any of the other good that could come your way. So we have to be mindful to be open. We get this opportunity in life and reminders from people that are wonderful like you that allow us to look at things differently. Because
that's what you do. That's what you teach, woman.
Because when we, those lenses are never out there. They're always right here. It's a beautiful song that I love called Fix My Eyes by Kings and Country. And it's literally, that's what it's that reminder to fix my eyes, because it's never someone or something else. It's how I'm perceiving it that blocks me.
Exactly. That's why the hero formula works so well, because it takes you into your geography of perceptions and gets you mindful and awake to them. We often don't know what we're perceiving. We can say, oh, I have these beliefs and those beliefs on my shadow side and my wounded child side, this side, the other thing. But we rarely know what lenses we're looking through because it's so right here, we can't see them. Perception is everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And I know in the midst of your busy move and all that's happening in life, there's exciting things for you this year. And I'm so happy for you. And, knowing that everyone, everything, every resource you need, that the law makes it so. It's been declared and it is known and it is finding its way to you with ease and grace. So knowing that the beauty of that vision is being fulfilled right as we speak. So thank you so much.
Amen.
And I encourage people to go out and get this beautiful book. It's available on Amazon and also on your website. They can find that as well, but Wise Inside. So definitely go out and get that so you can walk yourself through this amazing process. And know that, there is so much good here at this network for you. Wonderful people like Danae that have been here, and that there's so much good. So please remember that, we go back to some of the old episodes on all kinds of things. Just put in New Thought Media Network. You'd be amazed what comes up. And really, if you've been blessed, know that we are here because of people like you. Go to ntmedia.org and click the donate button. It gives the opportunity for us to be able to do more of this, bring people good news and how to get there, to be that light. And thank you. Thank you so much for being that light and for being here with us. I celebrate, all the good that's coming for you, and know that so many people have been blessed by what you've shared. And the Singing Children Home, I can't even imagine. I see the vision and I can't, countless, because it affects families. It's not just the children, it's families. And, it is definitely divine work. So thank you for who you are and all you do. Thank you all for watching and being a part of it. And know that if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can always reach me. It's Gina at CSL ginacolvarioboston.org. You can find me on Facebook, Gina Colvario Krupka. Thank you for being here with me. Blessings and love. Namaste.
Mhm.